So welcome. What you'll need today, just to be comfortable, is to have a cushion, it doesn't matter what size, something like this, and a blanket for helping prop up parts of the body, and also for Shavasana at the end. So just make sure you've got whatever you need to be comfortable. And the theme for today is from freeze to ease. And there's a few steps in the middle. Because very often when we face something unknown, our instinctive response is to move into a freeze orientation. Our shoulders hunch, we close up the most vulnerable, the softest parts of the body, such as the throat and the heart and the belly. And the problem with this response to danger or fear is that it's unconscious, it's instinctive. So sometimes just bringing awareness to those frozen parts of the body is enough. But often we first need to engage them. We need to kind of reconnect them with the brain. And then we need to find a sense of rhythm and flow just to unlock those frozen parts of the body. So we'll do that today in a number of ways. We're going to, first of all, do some breathing using what is traditionally called the 3 locks in the body. So there's a lock at the perineum called Mula Bandha, and you lift that up as if you were stopping the flow of urine. There's also a lock just under the rib cage. It's called Uddiyana Bandha, and it's when you lift and hold right in the center of the body. And then there's a lock in the throat, Jalandhara Bandha, and that's when we draw the chin into the chest and we slightly close the back of the throat. And if these are not familiar to you, it's fine. Just explore as I talk you through. The idea with the locks is that you hold the energy in the body. So when you take a deep in-breath, you can hold it there, really fill the body with oxygen and life. And then when you release the locks, and a sense of ease is able to flow into the body. So let's begin. Maybe letting your eyes close. And sitting as comfortably as you can in this pose known as Sukhasana, the pose of ease. But for many of us, it's not easy. We often have our knees up in the air, our shoulders are crunched, and it takes a little while just to unfreeze, unlock these parts of the body. And that's what we'll be working on in our yoga practice. So we'll begin and end in Sukhasana, so that we can get a sense of how the body has responded to our movement, our flow, our engagement. So let's bring hands together at the heart. Making our intention to bring mindful awareness to this body of ours. Just checking in first how it feels. Any tight spots, any frozen or locked places in the body. Any places of ease and openness. And then we bring awareness to the heart-mind, the chitta. Our emotional intelligence, just noticing what's with us this morning. And we make a deep wish that by bringing awareness to the body, we can move into a state of ease. And in turn benefit all those with whom we share our life. So gently reaching up into the sky, just offering out our intention, and then letting the arms return back. Gravity drawing us slowly down to the earth or to the knees. And then bringing awareness to the shoulders. How are they this morning? Let's just actually squeeze them up to the ears. We often find them up here when we're driving, when we're working on a computer. So let's consciously squeeze them and then roll them back and down. Lifting them up and then rolling them back and down. You may hear some crackles, that's normal. As they roll back and down, just see if you can feel the shoulder blades kind of holding the upper back, as if someone's hands are supporting you. And then let those shoulder blades stay on the upper back as we expand through the collarbones, the chest, the heart center, as we open the rib cage so that our breath can flow more smoothly. So we'll begin with relaxation breath, where we deeply inhale for the count of 5. We hold for the count of 5. And we exhale for the count of 5, maybe gently blowing out through the lips, like blowing out a candle. So inhaling 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. 2 more rounds. And the next time we do it, we're going to engage the bandhas. So we'll inhale 2, 3, 4, 5, and then lift at the perineum. Draw the chin into the chest. Lift up just underneath the ribs. Just feel that sense of containment, of holding, and then let everything ease out. So the hold may be a little longer than 5, just while you're getting used to the bandhas. So inhaling, lift at the perineum, lift under the rib cage, chin drawing into the chest, shoulders soft. Holding ourselves full, oxygenating the body, and then gently release. Again. Lift and hold and release. Imagining the little alveoli in the lungs just soaking up that oxygen. Inhaling, filling the rib cage, filling right up under the collarbones, and then hold it all in. And softly release. 1 more round. And when you're empty, just notice whatever sensation is in the body, in the heart and mind. After we've engaged, after we've activated and then found a sense of flow, can we also tap into that quality of ease that always resides within the body? So let's take a more active breathing technique now, the sun breath. So we'll inhale the arms up and overhead. And then exhale them down, pushing the heels of the hands away. So waking up the fingers and the arms. You may feel quite a deep stretchy sensation as you work as well into the fascia, that cellophane sheath that coats the muscles, moves all the way through the body, lines the joint sides. Just notice as the heels of the hands push away, is there a deeper, stretchy sensation? And that will help us unlock tension in the shoulders, in the arms, up into the neck. One more time, and this time we'll leave the arms up in the sky. Interlace the fingers, pushing the palms up and overhead, drawing the shoulder blades down. So really feel the whole length of the body. Push your sits bones onto your cushion or the ground beneath. Let the crown of the head be pulled up. So feel the waist lengthening as well. Feel the rib cage lengthening. Really engaging the muscles so that we know where they are. And then when we release the hands and we push the heels of the hands away and everything comes back down to earth, we can let it all switch off. Find a sense of softening, of releasing. And then switching over the cross of the legs. This will probably be your not so normal side. It may feel less comfortable. Just feel how it feels. And inhale the arms up and overhead. This time lifting the gaze just so that you can open a little more into the front body. And then push the heels of the hands down. Hugging the muscles around the arm bones. And then when they do come down to earth, let everything soften. And then let's go from side to side. So grounding your left fingertips, lift your right arm up and overhead. And then gently opening through the waist, the ribs, the armpit. Maybe lifting your gaze, but just check in on your neck. If it's more comfortable to look down, that's also fine. And then sweeping over to the other side. So right hand grounded, left arm reaching into the sky first of all, and then gently over. So engaging all these muscles. When we're frozen, we don't know which muscles have contracted. When we engage consciously, we can really feel the connections in the body. And then we move into a flow. Just finding your way from one side to the other in your own time. Link to the breath. Letting gravity take you to wherever your body wants, not your mind. Sometimes the mind forces us, it thinks we need to go somewhere deeper. We think that's better. But just listen to the wisdom of the body this morning. We really want to unlock ourselves at the pace that the body is comfortable with. So this should feel delicious. A sense of awakening, of finding that internal flow, friendliness, and ease. And once you've gone evenly to both sides, just let yourself return to Sukhasana. And how does this pose feel now? Can we find a greater sense of comfort, of stillness? If you're on a cushion, just moving it away. We're going to just bring the knees up into the chest and take some undulations. So as we inhale, the chest opens, the belly fills. As we exhale, we squeeze under. And the chin comes into the chest. That's that Jalandhara Bandha. Finding the rhythmic flow, uncramping the body. Letting it awaken this morning with a conscious awareness. And then, of course, we need to awaken the abdominals. We're working down from the neck to the shoulders. So bringing the Lower legs parallel with the earth, you can hold behind the thighs and gently lift up through the crown of the head. And then pull the knees in like a little ball. You might feel the hip flexors, that deep hip crease. There may be sensation there. And then open out a little bit. You can still support yourself behind your legs. Squeezing in. Inhale, opening out. Squeezing in. Feel the sensation. Activate those muscles so that when you open, they're willing to soften. And you're welcome to keep holding behind the legs, but if you'd like to work more with the abdominals, then bring your arms outwards, pointing towards the toes, and moving between our boat and our half boat. Really engaging that lower band of abdominals so that the lower back is protected. And linking this with your breath. Just 3 more times. Last one. And hugging the knees in, little ball. And then feet onto the earth. And see where you can soften. Taking the feet a little bit further out. And then using those abdominals once again just to bring you down to the earth. We're going to explore quite a lot into the hip flexors today. Because there's a deep, deep muscle, the psoas muscle, that tightens when we feel under pressure or when we're facing the unknown. So bringing the right thigh into the chest, holding over the shin, and lengthening the left leg away from you. And then before we can really draw this leg deep, we want to engage. We want to bring our brain in connection with those muscles. So push the shin bone up into the hands. Feel that engagement. You may notice sensation deep into the hip crease. And then when you're ready, on an out breath, draw the knee into the chest. Feel that sense of melting. And then once again, pushing out. Really engage. Feel sensation. Make sure it feels manageable, nothing too much. And then release and squeeze the knee into the chest. Maybe it comes a little bit into the armpit, depending on your flexibility. And third time, pushing the shin bone up into the hands, resisting, activating, awakening the body. And then pull it back. Feel that sense of hugging, of gentleness, of ease. And release. Switching legs. They may be quite a different side to side. Most of us are one-sided. So the right leg now stretching out and away from you. The left knee pulling in, and just notice where it is before we start to engage. And then we'll have a sense of the direction in which we're heading. So pushing the shin bone up into the hands and squeezing back. Just gently pulling in. Activate, engage. Deep breath. And then a long exhale as you pull the knee towards the chest, or maybe sliding into the armpit, depending on your range of movement. Our third one, really activate. Feel any sensation. And then pull in and soften. Feel how it feels. And then let the other knee come up and join for a hug. A gentle good morning squeeze. And then rolling the chin into the chest. And just see if that can take you forward and back. Nice and gently, maybe holding behind the thighs instead, just to give you a little more range of movement. You can be playful here. You can roll all the way back, just depending how your body feels first time to practice in the day. And when you're ready, coming up, crossing the legs, and finding your way onto hands and knees. And then just take some delicious cat and cow. So the breath provides us with that inner flow. The muscles engage and then release. And in this way we move from our frozen, our freezing response into finding ease. So keeping the knees together, we're going to come down into a very tight little ball, a little child's pose with the arms back. So this is more of a tortoise-like response to danger when we're very much closed up. Everything is protected. And just feel how the body feels. Of course, we're connected with the earth. There's a sense of safety being right down on the earth. Bringing awareness to the flow of breath. And then we're going to activate in a different way. So bring the arms forwards and just step one knee a little wider and then the other. So your knees are towards the edge of the mat and the big toes are together. There'll be space now for the belly to come down between the thighs. So this is another version of child's pose. And now what we're going to do is, without moving the legs, squeeze the knees in towards each other. Again, you may feel that sense of activation deep into the hip creases. You may also notice the sits bones widening a little bit, as if you're creating space right down at the base. So squeeze, 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 and then melt. Let everything soften and spread the way water spreads. Feel that flow, water-like quality in the body. Squeezing in, and then spreading and broadening. Exhale, squeeze. Inhale, let the belly fill, let the lower back fill. Feel that internal space as the hips open and you find your way a little more connected with the earth. And then moving into some rhythm. So letting the knees come underneath the hips once again, and then gently moving forward and back. So from child's pose into a modified upward dog, you can lift the gaze, lift the sides of the mouth, and then draw back. So the body, particularly the muscles, they love rhythmic movement. This is how they get juicy. And then they're much more willing to stretch, to lengthen. And that's also when we can strengthen them. Once the muscles are juicy, then we can add some holding, some engagement. So the next time you come forward, don't come so far, just letting shoulders come over the wrists and lift the right leg up behind. Push the toes away. Feel the muscles hugging around the thigh bones, really activating through the hamstrings now and the calves. Push the ball of the foot away from you. If you're comfortable there, if you feel quite balanced, you can also let the left arm come up so that you're stretching on that diagonal. Let the breath flow gently in and out. And then release back to child's pose. Rocking forward and back a little bit. Just to equalize, we've worked on one side. So we want to juice up both sides once again. And the next time you come forward, let the left leg lift and engage. Hug the muscles around the femur bone, activate the calf. Push the ball of the foot away from you while the toes pull back. We call it flointing. It's like a flexing of the foot and a pointing at the same time. You may notice the abdominals holding you steady. And then, only if you want to, let the right arm lift as well. And just noticing differences side to side. One side we may be very steady. The other side may have old injuries or vulnerabilities. So just be friendly with the body. And then release when you're ready. Back into child's pose. Feel yourself spreading, softening, finding ease. And then activating once more. We're going to move forward, tuck the toes. So finding your first downward dog. And our first downward dog, we can have deeply bent knees. Just really enjoy that sense of lengthening into the spine, pushing the earth away, tailbone up into the sky, broadening across the shoulders. And then walking out the heels. Walking your dog. Stretching through calves and hamstrings. Be playful here. Just enjoying this discovery of movement in the body, unlocking, unfreezing places where we habitually find restriction. And then coming into a still downward dog, seeing if you can shift your weight back towards your feet so that the arms, the wrists are not overworked. And then gently floating forward into plank. Feel the shift in weight now. So claw the mat if you need to. Just take weight on all the hand rather than on that wrist joint. Back into downward facing dog. Floating forward into plank. Back into downward facing dog. Moving with the breath. Finding your inner flow. Engaging the body. Last time to move forward into plank. Just hold there, find your strength, activate the muscles around the thigh bones, lift the lower abdominals, push the earth away, rounding through the back of the shoulders, and then downward facing dog. Letting the right leg float up behind, and then bringing it into the chest. And we're going to gently step it forward between the hands. So dropping the left knee now and flattening the toes behind. When you're ready, push the front foot into the earth, bring the hands up onto the knee. So find a steadiness by squeezing towards an imaginary midline. So the right thigh squeezing in, the left thigh squeezing in, activating the buttocks, the whole of the pelvis. Feel yourself engaged. And we're not going to go forward very much. We want to really feel the stretch through the front of the left hip here. So draw the tailbone down. Notice if that increases the sensation. And then when you're ready, you can float the arms up into the sky. So right angle with the front leg, with the back leg, drawing down with the tailbone. And then imagining that the arms begin from the waist and feel them lengthening all the way up. So for now, just a straight pose, feeling that length. And then bringing the hands down, we'll go into a little twist. So the left hand comes down next to the right foot, and then gently let the right arm sweep up and open. And release. Soft and gentle. Tucking the toes back into downward facing dog. Or taking child's pose at any point. Acknowledging what soft and gentle means for you in your practice. And now the left leg will float up behind, not too high. Just feel the hips still facing the earth. And then bring it into the chest. So often our foot gets stuck halfway, then we can give it a helping hand. Up onto the pointy fingers, and then let that back knee drop. And again, there's modifications here. You can fold over the side of the mat if the knee feels vulnerable, or you can rest on a blanket. When you're ready, push down to come up, and again, squeeze the inner thighs towards that invisible midline. Draw the tailbone down, and this time you'll notice the front of the right hip. Some sensation deep here. So this is our psoas muscle that we're lengthening. It runs from the femur bone all the way through the pelvis and connects with the spine, one of the deepest muscles in the body that connects upper and lower body. So when you're ready, the arms can lift up and overhead. And again, just imagining that we're growing upwards from the waist and we're pulling down from the tailbone. You may like to lift your gaze, just give the heart a little opening. And then into our twist. So the hands come down, the right hand to the earth, and the left arm now opening to the sky. And release. Tucking the toes and stepping back. Downward facing dog. Take a moment here. And then once again into our wide-kneed child's pose. That sense of becoming like water, spreading onto the earth. And once again engaging, so squeezing the knees towards each other, even though they don't move. We just engage, we activate. And see whether pulling in on one end can open the other end of that femur bone. So maybe some space between the sits bones. And then let everything melt once again. Filling yourself with breath. Finding ease. And releasing back through hands and knees, grounding the fingers, spreading them wide, toes tuck, downward, facing dog. And then take a stroll to the front of your mat. As you inhale, the hands compress against the shin bones, so just activate into that upside down L shape, flat back. And then let gravity do the work, holding the elbows, lengthening the spine just through the weight of your skull and your torso and your arms. The knees can bend quite deeply, resting the belly on the thighs. There may be a sense of bending over a pole and a slight lift into the hip creases, and then releasing the arms, pushing down. as you come up, one vertebra at a time, nice and slow and steady. And into our Tadasana, a place where we often hold tension in the shoulders, in the neck. So just rolling back and down once again. And then moving into a flow, a gentle flow which activates, but with the intention of finding ease. So no need to strain, to stress, to overdo it. Just working within your body's range so that it feels delicious. Inhale, arms up and overhead. Exhale, swallow dive. Down towards the earth. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, one at a time, but stepping both legs back into downward facing dog. Floating forward into plank. And then this time using the knees. And then keeping elbows close to the rib cage, lowering the upper body down. Rolling the shoulders back, coming into a little cobra. And exhale, release. Again, shoulders roll back. Maybe a slightly deeper cobra, but there's no rush. There's no preferred pose. The ideal pose is the one that feels comforting for your body. Holding your cobra a little, pulling the hands back, drawing the heart forward. And then releasing. Spreading like water. The hands back beside you. And then making this active, a little shalabhasana. We can keep the hands where they are, back of the hands on the mat, and gently lifting the heart. And then letting the legs lift too. Keep the inner thighs squeezing towards each other, that invisible midline once again. Maybe lifting a little higher. And release. Hands under the shoulders, coming back. Just the counter pose for Shavasana, Shalabhasana will come into that little curled up child's pose with the hands back. And then reaching forward, downward facing dog. Let's take the right leg up behind. Bringing it into the chest, three-legged plank. Inhale back, find the flow, find your own rhythm. Right leg to right elbow, keep it high. Inhale back. Right leg to left elbow, again keep it nice and high and back. And through the midline once again. Keeping it lifted, and stepping forward between the hands. Letting the knee drop, the toes flatten, push down to come up. So we worked already with this psoas muscle. Let's take it even a little deeper. So draw the tailbone down until you feel sensation in the front of that hip. Then leaving the right hand on the right knee, let the left arm float skywards. And then gently arching over to your right side so that you feel that deep stretch right from the thigh, through the pelvis, through the waist, the armpit. Feeling that deep stretching within, bringing awareness to this muscle that so often tenses and holds us locked. And then gently release. Getting more playful here, we can lift both arms up into the sky. We can melt forward into the front knee just to your range, and then open the heart, open the arms, and release. Hands touch down, toes tuck behind, downward facing dog. Take a moment, take a breath, float forward into plank, just coming through your vinyasa, knees, chin, chest, or chaturanga. Opening into cobra or upward facing dog, and finding your way back into down dog to play on the other side. Letting the left leg lift. Bringing it forward. Keep it nice and high. Claw the mat to protect the wrists. Inhale back. Left knee to left elbow. Inhale back. Left knee across the body. Inhale back. And then once again, drawing forward. If it gets stuck halfway, that foot, you lift it, a little helping hand. Draw the heart forward, let the back knee soften down onto the toes, hugging the midline, coming up. So just as we did on the other side, hands start resting on the knee, we draw the tailbone down. Feel that deep stretch right through the front of the right hip. And then keeping the left hand steady on the knee, let the right arm sweep up. And then let that take you into a little curve. Feel sensation. Keeping our awareness connected with the body. The sensation may be intense. We still hold our attention there, knowing it will pass, knowing that what we're doing is benefiting the body, bringing us back to a place of ease. Releasing. And then playful, open the heart. Open the arms. You may like to move forward into that front knee. And release. Hands to the earth. Tucking the toes. Downward facing dog. Take a breath. Let your next out breath flow out. Maybe through the mouth, a little sigh. And then finding your way, whatever way you choose. Some gentle steps, a little hop to the front of your mat. Inhale, draw the heart forward, the spine lengthens, and then fold. And push down to come up. Arms wide once again, right up into the sky, and then the palms down the midline. And when hands come to the heart, we recollect our intention to move through these different steps from freeze, from locked down, tight body. We engage, we find flow with our intention of moving all the way through and finding ease. From freeze to ease. Bring the hands down next to the thighs. And then sweeping fingertips along the earth. Our Utkatasana, just once again to activate all those muscles around the femur, into the hip creases. See if you can gaze down and see your toes, drawing your tailbone down, and then lifting the gaze a little. And folding forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. So you may want a cushion or a blanket. We're going to come down into pigeon pose. So just make sure something is near you to slip underneath your hip. I'll show you just now. So taking one leg and then the other back into downward facing dog. So let's start with the left leg. We're going to bring that left knee forward behind the wrist. And the heel can be under the pubic bone, or if you have more flexibility, you could walk it more to the front of your mat so that it's parallel. But just choose what feels good for you this morning. Soften the toes behind. You can almost caterpillar them back a little bit. And then we'll start with engaging. So we're going to just squeeze the front knee and the back knee towards each other and lift up a little. So when we engage, it just shows the body which muscles we're working with, so that when it comes time to relax them, they're able to soften. So you may have hands on the ground, that's fine. You may be able to bring hands onto the hips and squeeze and lift. The advanced version is with a smile, or maybe even with the arms up into the sky. And then melting, spreading. This is where a cushion underneath the hip can be comforting, because if the body is resting above the earth, it never feels stable. So just bringing something under that left buttock can really help you find ease. Maybe the right leg wants to go back a little more, and then come down onto the forearms. Maybe even pulling the forearms back to draw the heart forward. You may notice sensation through that right hip flexor once again. And you're welcome to stay here, or some people like to come right down to the ground, resting the forehead. But for you, it must feel restful. That is when the pose is being done correctly. So we focus our attention on the exhale. Seeing if it can be long and slow and carry away any tension with it. If you're gripping, just notice that. Maybe ease off a little. Coming to a place where you can find ease. Last 2 deep breaths. And then gently coming up. Moving any cushions or blankets. Tucking the back toes. And gently finding downward facing dog. You may feel quite lopsided. We've just worked on the one side. So you may like to just walk out the feet. And then shifting your supports to the other side, ready to work on the right. So bringing the right knee behind the right wrist. And again, the heel can be under the pubic bone, or it can walk a little further forward. The idea is for you to find the shape of pose that allows your body to feel sensation at the same time as touching into softness and gentleness. So we begin by activating, remember, we're going to pull that front knee back, pull the back knee forward. The perineum will lift. You can use that mula bandha just to give you some extra support, lifting up at the base. The hands might come onto the hips or the fingers supporting you on the earth. And again, just noticing differences side to side. On the other side, it may have felt easy. This side, just lifting the sides of the mouth and softening the forehead may be challenging. Maybe the arms rise, but that's just a play. That doesn't change the pose in any way. And then releasing. Caterpillar, the back leg back. Take your cushion under your buttock, just so you can rest down. Forearms perhaps, or straight arms so that you're resting on the long bones of the body. Just finding your pigeon. And if there's strong sensation, then we direct the breath there. But the idea is just to have enough sensation to keep aware, but nothing that makes us want to back off. So the in-breath goes into the place where you can feel the body speaking to you. And then the out-breath is this long, slow sense of release, of navigating our way towards ease. Two more long, slow breaths, just seeing where you can melt on the exhale, spreading like water. And gently coming up. And when the hips have been held in a pose for a while, they often seem to just not know how to move. So take your time, tucking the toes of the back foot, lifting the knees, shifting the weight, and slowly drawing the right leg back into downward facing dog. Walking out the feet. Just taking that banana-shaped body, aware of sensation deep into the hip, that hip flexor, which connects upper and lower body. And then gently coming onto hands and knees and sitting back on the heels, hands on the thighs. Taking a moment to reconnect with the flow of the breath. And taking a mini mindfulness practice where we open to all the sensations in the body. Where we notice our emotional world. And of course, aware of thoughts as they flow through the mind like a river. And we sit on the bank of the river watching those thoughts flow by without needing to get involved. And then opening your awareness up to the world of the senses. What can you see, hear, taste or smell? Feeling the touch of the shin bones on the earth, the hands on the thighs, the clothing on the skin. And then opening even wider to our connection with all things. You may be able to hear birds or conversation, maybe traffic. Just opening to that flow of life. And noticing whether, without needing to get involved, we can tap into our inner ease. And then releasing the buttocks over to one side of the hips and sweeping the legs around in front. Just drawing the hips towards the heels. And we'll take one twist before Shavasana just to juice deep into the spine. So coming down and choosing your twist. We can simply drop the knees to one side, both of them together, reaching the arms wide. Or if it's in your practice to twine the legs around each other, you're welcome to take that variation. Just see what feels right, what feels as if it connects our whole inner world, finding union. So remember the little caterpillar move to lengthen the spine. And then whichever direction your knees are, just let your gaze go in the opposite direction. And gently uncrossing that side. Whichever variation you did, do it to the other side, either knees together, that's a beautiful twist, or twining the legs around each other, just finding the twist that your body needs. A couple more soothing breaths. And then untwining. And getting a blanket or some extra clothing just to make sure you're warm and cozy. And as we lie back in Shavasana, the heels wide, the toes dropping out, the arms wide with the palms up, you can press your head down a little, draw the shoulder blades underneath, and notice how the heart, the chest can open. And then counting back from 10. And each time you exhale, imagine the body spreading like water, seeping into the earth, being held, and finding ease. Counting back until you get to 1, and then letting the body breathe for you. Being breathed by the flow of life. And whatever sense or level of ease you're connecting with right now, just really tune into that felt sense in the body. So that at moments during the day, you can reconnect with a simple out-breath, a softening of the muscles, a sense of connecting down onto the earth. And then bringing movement, easy movement, into fingers and toes, wrists and ankles. And drawing the knees up again as we did right at the start. Just feel how it feels to hug, to hold deeply, pushing your lower back down onto the ground, squeezing the knees into the chest. And then rolling to whichever side beckons. And levering your way back up. Rediscovering Sukhasana. Easy pose. Gently scanning down from the crown of the head. How is the forehead? Is it smooth? Is it tight? How is the mouth? Is it soft? The jaw, the neck, the shoulders. How do we feel now? And whatever benefit we've gained from practicing together, we offer that out to others so that they too might benefit from our ability to shift from that tight, frozen state into engagement or action, which reconnects us with flow. And then, as a byproduct, in a sense, ease re-emerges. And we find our natural state of awareness. So let's offer out on the sound of an Om. Taking a deep in-breath, a long sigh, inhaling, and bringing hands together at the heart.